Our survey of bank CEOs in rural parts of 10 states, including Iowa and stretching North Dakota and Minnesota right straight down the country, the bank CEOs for the month of August were fairly pessimistic about the rural Main Street economy. In fact, our index, which stretches between 0 and 150 being growth neutral, the index for August dropped below growth neutral, and that's the first time this year. So the businesses on Main Street, as reported by the bank CEOs, are not doing as well. Now, of course, on the flip side, they report for the farming sector. Now, farms are doing fairly well, although even there we're not seeing the growth now that we saw earlier in the year, and that's even the growth in the farm sector is slowing down a bit.
What about the cheap dollar policies of the Fed?
Cheap dollar policies is a lot to do with this. The Fed, of course, they've kept the printing presses open, so to speak, pushing down the value of the dollar, and of course that's pushed up agricultural commodity prices. So that's why we see this, one of the reasons we see this significant divergence or gap between what's going on with the farming, which is international, selling internationally, pushing up and boosting the price of, for example, corn, wheat, soybean, pork, and beef, and other agricultural commodities, pushing that up. But at the same time, the businesses on Main Street, which depend more, of course, on the domestic economy, not doing as well. In other words, they are not benefiting from the cheap dollar policies to any great extent. So that's why we're seeing this gap, and I expect that gap to continue. Although, again, I expect according to our surveys of the rural Main Street bankers, the bank CEOs, I expect the businesses on Main Street, rural Main Street, growth to slow, or actually maybe even we'll see some negative growth there. On the farm side, even there, the growth is not going to be as strong in the next 6 months as it has been in the past 6 months. Okay, on the farmland prices, we asked this August, looking ahead, what the expectations for farmland price growth over the next year, and it's a lot lower than what we've seen over the last year. Of course, over the last year, depending on the area of the country and the state and the areas, growth was between 10 and 20%. This August, I calculated about a 2.6% growth rate going forward. Now that's down significant, but it's still positive growth in land prices. So while I think some of the air is going to come out of the farmland price bubble, we're not going to see all that air come out right now. We're going to continue to see growth in farmland prices, just not what we've seen in the past. And what we're seeing, at least according to the bank CEOs, is a lot of gentlemen and gentlewomen farmers in Omaha and Des Moines and Minneapolis and Fargo and so on buying land. In other words, it's a safe haven buy. It's sort of what some have said the new gold. In other words, you've got a lot of cash out there, a lot of money, and there's a lot of people, a lot of investors scared. Where do they see some safety? Farmland, gold. So that's pushing it up. So that's what we're seeing. That's what we're likely to continue to see, but we're not going to see as much of it.